Hey, let me start with a question. I should know the answer to this, but either one of you guys grab it. Why the game last year, pandemic year, was in College Station? Why is it? Why didn't this game go back to Fayetteville this year and put a 1-year hiatus on the contract? Anybody know the answer?
JB.
I mean, Billy, I was under the impression that this was going to be a home and home deal last year when A&M got the game. So I wish I had a clear answer on that. I know that the matchup in Jerry World's under contract through 2024. So I know it is the belief of both schools, I believe, Billy, that they're going to move it to campuses soon. But maybe Billy knows. I don't know why that game wasn't reciprocated.
You know what? I can tell you the A&M fans feel a lot like the Arkansas fans in that they want the game at Kyle Field every other year. And quite frankly, they loved in 2013 going up to Fayetteville and kind of renewing that SWC thing, much like Texas did a couple weeks ago. So I think if you're going to look on who to blame, I guess we'll have to blame the old Razorback on that one. That would be Jerry Jones, because I think he's got a death grip on this thing, and he's not letting it go until that contract's up.
Well, he does give a few dollars to the university, JB. So maybe we'll give him a pass on that. But I'm like you guys. I mean, I've had enough of Arlington. I'm ready to take this to the campuses. Speaking of campuses, we saw you a couple of weeks ago, JB. The Razorbacks are ready for action. A lot of people think they're going to win this game. Just in terms of going into it, what's the level of optimism, JB?
But you got a feel for it here a couple of weeks ago, Paul, and it's just kept building ever since. That win over Texas was, as we discussed in your show, an enormous building block for this program. Got them back on the map, certainly nationally, with the way they played. And yet it all comes back to this game, Paul, and you've said it for years now, and I agree with you. Until Arkansas can beat Texas A&M head-to-head, it's really hard to take the rebuild seriously. So 9 straight losses. You know, it's kind of unsettling for Hog fans because the dads, the grandpas, the grandmas, they remember dominance back in the day, not just winning. They remember Arkansas winning 2 out of every 3 against A&M over the course of, a century. And then here in the SEC, it's 9-0 Texas A&M. So 2 very different stories in the history of this matchup. And Arkansas needs it bad. I know A&M needs it to continue on the path for a playoff, but Arkansas certainly needs it on the path back to stability and respectability here in 2021.
Yeah, and Billy, I would say A&M does need it pretty badly because it just seemed like about 3 weeks ago A&M was waiting for Alabama to arrive in 2 weeks. And now after it seemed like a loss against Colorado, much like Alabama didn't lose, but it felt like it to Florida. What is the state of this program right now?
I think the program is in as good a shape as it's been since I've been covering it, Paul. But if you're talking about what's the state right now for this week and this season, I absolutely think A&M needs this game. And I think Arkansas and A&M are the one thing that's similar between them, besides the fact that they're both going to try to go out on Saturday and physically beat each other up. The other similarity is that these next 2 weeks, I think, define their entire season. He just nailed it on the Arkansas and how they need to beat A&M. And then with Georgia up next, I mean, and you look at A&M, and I know it's Arkansas and Mississippi State, and all of a sudden Arkansas carries that number 16 by their name. They're surging with momentum, as they should be. But Arkansas, Mississippi State, like you said, that Alabama game is just kind of looming out there. And if you go through all this, and if they're able to win Saturday and then get Mississippi State at home, the conversation just as quickly as it kind of shifted negative, and I think rightfully so. I don't think A&M's played very good football yet. It'll shift completely in the other direction in 2 weeks. So I think both teams' seasons are defined by these next 2 Saturdays.
And Billy, Jimbo Fisher was here 2 days ago. He seemed pretty confident. Now, again, he's a coach, and he's not going to come in here with a down face. But what is your level of confidence in Calzada and his ability to lead this team right now?
I'm confident in Calzada. I'm not confident in Calzada going against Barry Odom on 3rd and 8 and 3rd and 9 and 10 every down. So to me, it's actually it's the running game. And can A&M run the football successfully on early downs? That's why they went up 42-17 through 3 quarters against the very similar Arkansas defense last year. Kellen Mond was like a surgeon out there throwing the ball, but they ran the ball successfully on early downs. Kellen threw it successfully early on, and that might have been A&M's best offensive performance of the year. I don't think they're going to have their best offensive performance Saturday, but they have to have a good performance. The one thing I'll say, guys, under Jimbo Fisher in 3 years, A&M is 14-3 in what I would call 14-4 in fourth quarter games. 2 of those were on the road at Georgia and against the national champs from Clemson. So they've really done a good job. If this thing gets deep in the game and A&M just kind of has to find a way to win it, and JB, you can attest, that's kind of what they've done to get to this 9 in a row against Arkansas, because they've all been close except for a couple of exceptions.
JB?
I mean, you're on the money, Billy. It's been a toss-up kind of series. And what's it, 5 of the last 7 meetings have come down to the final possession, final score. And, I mean, we've seen this series be high-scoring. We've seen it be very low-scoring. I know the over-under right now, according to the wise guys in Vegas, is 47 points, which sounds kind of low. But at the same time, I can see the game taking on a very physical nature, like Billy just said. And I think he breaks the game down on the money. Both teams are going to challenge the other team's quarterback. Calzada for A&M, relatively inexperienced. KJ Jefferson for Arkansas, truthfully, not that much more experience. Only a few games this year under his belt. So both quarterbacks have to show you they can beat you with the arm. Both teams are going to try to physical you up front and run the ball. And both teams have played really good defense so far. I know Texas A&M's defense is statistically as good as anybody's in the country, but Arkansas's defense is playing very well, like you said, Billy, under Barry Odom right now. So I feel like it's probably going to be another one-possession type game.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.